There are those of you who are going to be accepting of this, and those of you who are going to flat out disagree. But from the very beginning of me doing reviews on this channel, has reviews, I said that you're entitled to have your own opinion on anything. And I have touched things that and reviewed stuff that I know people really enjoy, that I don't like, and people who and things that people hate that I like. Anything because everyone's entitled to their own opinion. And we're well, it's it's only natural that things like this can, there'll always be a slim possibility that something that has earned a lot of praise, there are those who are just going to flat out not like it. So let's get on with the thing. Let's just say it now. I don't like Barbie. Yeah, I don't like it. The 2023 of the film Barbie, released this year as part of the Barbenheimer phenomenon. Really, I don't think anyone. I think there's pretty much almost every person has seen both films at this rate. Well, at least half the people who I think have seen this. Those who, you know, teenagers, adults, not with kids, but young girls. But you get what I mean. Do I hate it? No. Do I think there's some good stuff in it? Yes. However, this has a lot of problems and a lot of things that really get under my skin when it comes to films. So it's kind of hard for me to overlook them and for them to get past me. Let's get on with the story. The film, well, I'll discuss everything later, but the film, our Barbie is the stereotypical Barbie. That's basically what she's called, stereotypical Barbie, or standard Barbie, whatever it is. Played by Margot Robbie. She lives in Barbie Land with all the other Barbies, and, they seem to all represent different, variations of Barbie, both current or discontinued, in their society, while their own, and seem to have some correlation with their owners. They're also living in with other Kens, and as well as the soul Alan, Ken's best friend, played by Michael Cera. Sarah, I think it is. Yeah, yeah, really good. But but Barbie here starts to. Well, actually, I'm just going to call Margot Robbie's Barbie. Uh, Margot's Barbie basically is all of a sudden has thoughts of death and negative topics, and as compared to everyone else, every other Barbie in Barbie Land. So consulting with Weird Barbie, played by Kate McKinnon, after she all of a sudden starts no longer walking on her tippy toes and walking, flat feet. That was actually pretty funny. And yeah, she is told to go to the real world and figure out what the problem is with her owner. Tagging along with her is the standard Ken, played by Ryan Gosling, and it's up to and sooner or later she does find her owner, but it's actually not exactly her who's given her all those thoughts. It's actually her the teenage her owner's mother who was playing with the Barbie that represents her, giving her all those thoughts. And the mother is played by America Ferrera, who you may remember from the How to Train Your Dragon series as Astrid. Honestly, I was quite surprised. I didn't really get Astrid's voice from her. Never mind. No, just saying. Um, so Barbie brings the other two, the mother and daughter, with her back to Barbie Land to figure out to solve her conundrum. All the while that All the while, but when she returns, she discovers that her Ken is after seeing all how males have more of a more of an active role in the in the real world instead of just being second fiddle, has turned Barbie Land into Ken Land, where all the Kens rule and the Barbies are now stereotypical housemaids. So Barbie and all the other ones that escape being brainwashed by the Kens must figure out a way to stop the Kens takeover. All the while, the Mattel CEO, played by Will Ferrell, is trying also realizes what's going on and goes into Barbie Land to restore everything back to its normal state. Yeah, yeah. So the plot is pretty. Well, I sound like I was pretty jumbled with it, but actually, it's kind of simple when you watch it. Kind of hard to explain it though, but yeah, it's not my biggest issue. But what exactly is my biggest problem with this? I should mention, when it comes to stories like this, when I first saw the trailer for this, I immediately recognized the first thing that immediately popped into my head of this story is Elf, and other films where a character from a fantasy world all goes to you know the real world and gets totally overwhelmed, or while they keep a child naive innocence. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of those films, but to be fair, this film actually doesn't spend that much time in the real world, which I felt was actually pretty good. I was actually kind of happy with it. But even then, the familiar traps that this genre brings up still finds its way to sneak in. They do a very, it's not blatantly obvious, but uh, let's just get on to some of my main issues. I'll get over some of the smaller ones. I wasn't a big fan of first off Ryan Gosling as Ken. Well, in the beginning, that is because I just pictured the way he was when I just heard him speaking, at least until he started exploring for himself in the real world. I just couldn't stop. In my view, he was imitating a lot of imitating Michael Keaton's versions of Ken in Toy Story 3. In my view, I just couldn't escape that until he started, doing his own thing and going through it. Although even then, I think Ken's arc could have needed more time to explain, especially when he go returns to Barbie Land, transform it into Ken Land. I think that could have been explained a bit more. The songs. They're fine, but they're kind of bland. They're okay, but not perfect. Some of them, especially the opening one, until the things get messed around when Barbie starts having her existential crisis, I didn't really care for it. I can't really say that at the very least. Um, but there is also a few other things like the mother-daughter dynamic. I don't know. I wasn't too big on it either. I think it could have been explained a bit, but it's just what you think. Angsty teenager thinks her mum's a loser. Doesn't get along with her, even though her mother is kind of take a lot of brunt from it. I don't really care. Um, but let's get on to some of the other problem. But let's get on to my biggest issue. In my view, now look, you're going to encounter a lot of stupid moments of stupidity in this, and especially when it comes to stuff like the jokes and some of the moments in the real world when that Barbie's in it. And I don't know, that final line in the film looks like well, I know it's sort of a reference, I think, to a scene that happened earlier when Barbie and Ken first arrived in Los Angeles, but yeah. It, for certain people, I reckon the stupidity of certain moments will overwhelm you. Now, keep in mind, you can, at the very least, try to, even if it is stupid, there is a bit of smartness in explaining how the world works. And to be fair, the world building actually was not bad. But even then, it can get very. Sometimes it's hard to overlook. Like scenes with Will Ferrell and his interaction with Margot Robbie. That gets a little bit tiring. When America uh, Farah goes to to Barbie Land, it's that goes bonkers. Some of the jokes with the cans when they take over. Oh my gosh! Okay, the plan for the Barbies to regain Ken World is actually pretty good. There's there's certain stuff here and there when Ken's trying to fit into the real world. There's even stuff, Barbie and all that. Well, actually, except for one moment. Um, there's a couple of other stuff. It just gets over and over, and you just can't fathom. And again, some of the jokes, um, there are some jokes I remember from other stuff that have just start seep into these more family films, which like the scene, like they do bleep out a swear in this, and uh, judging by the screening I went to, um, they got real lucky. But yeah, I don't want to explain the screening I went to. Also, that's a funny story. But then you've got other stuff and everything keeps going on and on, and it's also the film is very very slow in my view. I, I I was just like, move on. Like when Barbie starts, like when Margot's Barbie starts realizing that her whole world is gone and how perfect it is. She just crouches down. Though even then, the way she gives up is kind of how you move a Barbie's legs, as far as I know. Yeah. But that was pretty cool, nice, creative. But it just gets so boring and boring. It doesn't. It takes freaking forever with certain moments, and it just doesn't let up, and it just move on to the next moment. Yeah, you have to at least try to keep me invested in certain moments, but some of these scenes just drag on too much, and I can't take it anymore. And I'm trying, but then again, as I said, but then we get to the one moment that I knew was coming, which I hate in these films, is when well, in this case Barbie meets her owner, and her owner flat out just doesn't believe her, and lists all the negative facts about Barbie, which isn't too bad, but even then, these scenes just you know what's coming. It just gets you, and it just goes because you know what's going to happen. She's going to eventually believe, and she gets freaked out with what her mother fantasized and all that. Which even now I'm still wondering uh, how that was the case, considering her explanation as to why she was acting like that. I don't get it as an accurate thought. Like I mean, it's just you know what's going to happen. You know things are going to work out, and even then, I kind of relate with that girl for being dragged for everything. Jeez, it, ugh. But with that, with and the ending I think is fine, but it's still very slow. Like I kind of think the final scene, so to say, could have been cut out. You could have ended on a different way, all that. But with that said, let's just get on with it. I think there are some there. With that said, there are some good things. Like I like the set design. The sets are perfect of how they, you know, of Barbie Lands. It's really funny. Even when I like travel to the real world, that's kind of and back. That's really cool. not bad. And the opening scene of the baby doll joke is the baby dolls and all that, and how Barbie came to be. Jeez, that was funny, and I love that. And as I said, I like the plan to take down the Kens. I like how they spend less time in the real world. And to be fair, I like a lot of these actors in this film. Certain celebrities do cameos as different Barbies, like Dua Lipa as the mermaid Barbie and John as the you know the Ken mermaid. I love Michael Cera as Alan. He's great. Helen Mirren as the narrators when you do hear her every now and then, she's good. Rhea Perlman as the ghost of Ruth Handler, the creator of Barbie, and yeah, that's just so funny. And even how Will Ferrell explains her existence is pretty good. Um, or Melissa Kate McKinnon, she's great. Um, and there are many others too. But a lot of the other actors, I mean, I already listed America Ferrera. I kind of wasn't too big of her. Um, Will Ferrell wasn't. I think it's not his best in my view, but he does have some moments. I've already listed my how I wasn't a big fan of Ryan Gosling at the beginning of the film, but got better. Well, Margot Robbie, she is a great actress. She has done, and I think is probably the most famous Australian actress. Well, the biggest name Australian actress at the moment. The thing is, I watched her in her very early beginnings in Australia on Neighbours, and she wasn't necessarily my favorite of the actors of that era of the show. I mean, granted, I did stop around the time she left watching that, and look, a lot of her performances have been pretty good, but I don't know, she's not necessarily my favorite of in this. She does decent enough, but I wasn't too big of a fan of her. Like, it's not bad, but I I think it's not her best performance in my view. I think I wouldn't say Harley's her best performance, but there is another one. There are some others. I mean, I like her in I, Tonya. I'm trying to forget what I thought of her in Mary Queen of Scots, so I actually didn't really like that movie, but yeah, this isn't her best performance, is what I'm trying to say. Um, and with that said, the ending, well, I think it's way too slow. I do like it where Real Perlman is explaining what she really meant for Barbie, at the very least. And yeah, I like that. There are some really good things in this. I see it big time, and I like some of the jokes are pretty good. But then again, the stupidity for me overwhelmed me. Some other major issues I also have with how they operate the real with explaining and the mother-daughter dynamic. Ryan Gosling at the beginning, the opening song, the Ken Zark in particular, the scene that I just listed. But you do hear a rendition of Aqua's Barbie Girl in the credits. I kind of actually wanted that to appear in somewhere in the main film. Like, I don't know. Maybe when Barbie and Ken first arrived in the real world, they could have briefly heard someone play on a speaker or something. I would have liked that. That would have been pretty good. But yeah, look, this is a film. Even now, I still don't know if I can fully know what to think, because there are some good things in it, but I'm not a big fan of it as a whole. It's just, it's a really hard thing for me to go past. I honestly, I will say this, I thought it was going to I was going to hear a lot more before going into it, because I was not a big fan of the trailer, and even reading about what the basic plot was. But if you were to, I would mu I mean, it's clearly obvious. I think Oppenheimer is much better than this, and I love the Super Mario Bros. Movie more than this too. But yeah, look, I know that this film means a lot to certain people, and I understand that. But it's just, it was just stupid and too Boring? Oh, just it's just not my flick. But I won't judge people for if you don't agree with me. So don't go listening to me negative comments on this. It's just not my thing. So please understand that. I'm not saying don't go see this. It's all up to you. And if you like it, great. But please understand, I just don't think it's, yeah, I just don't enjoy it. So for me, it's a 4.9 out of 10 hairstyles. Not going 4.5, not going, not yet, not really a 5, but just understand it. I'm entitled to think what I want to think, but it doesn't mean you have to exactly agree with me. So please, don't don't judge me for explaining what I think. We're all entitled to say what we want to say about these subjects. And that's what I love about people explain what they think of films and video games and all that. Makes you understand what people are like. So, if you're wondering what my next review will be, in terms of, well, I do have one more. There is a movie I think I probably will hopefully review next week. But after that, I'll wait till the end of that video to explain what's going on. For the meantime, this is Hazard from Hazard Reviews out, and see you next time. Ciao.